Hello.
Hello everyone. Welcome to
Truth,
Courage and Tea.
So we've got a few episodes under our belt now.
We do.
So thank you for watching. It's a slow start, but that's okay. We're good for that. We're here for the long haul. And we've probably, since we've started, we've already probably changed things a little bit, a few times. So
As you do.
Yeah, as you do, and that's the beauty of what we want to do, is evolve and grow. So you might notice we've got our same tea and teacups from last week, but Trace has got a different teapot.
I do. It's very special. And as always, I'll explain where it comes from because it's very special. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but basically it's everything London. And I did get it from London. I was doing a tour across the London Bridge. You can actually walk through the underneath of the bridge and you see all the mechanics of the bridge and whatnot. It's very, very historical. That's actually worthwhile seeing. And there's a little gift store at the other side. And I remember I just fell in love with this teapot. And as I said last week, teapots are a good souvenir because unless you drop them and they break, you've got them forever.
I know, but you've got to have space. You've got to have room in your kitchen for them or somewhere for them. But that is nice. So you've been to London. I know you've travelled a little bit. Where is what's your favourite destination you've ever been to? Or maybe top three. I know it's always hard to pick one favourite destination.
Yeah, look, for different reasons, I would have to say that I love Hawaii, but it was the time, you know, it was with family. Ashley was little and we just had the best time. It was beautiful being right on the water, swimming at Waikiki, going around to Turtle Bay and going to the culture centre and whatnot. It was just really special, you know. But I absolutely loved those picturesque countries in Europe, you know, like Switzerland and Austria. You know, there's just so many places. It's really difficult for me to say one over another because they're all so different. Yeah. You know, I could say Japan. Japan is like going to another universe because of language and all the written stuff, and then just the whole culture and tradition and whatnot. And it would rank very highly because that encompassed everything. I was with Ashley when she was only young, and Doug, and it was also just an amazing, you know, place. But I had so much fun, you know, travelling around England and Ireland and Scotland in a car with Mum and seeing all of those historical places. Like, yeah, that's the thing about travel. That's why you have to travel. Yeah. It's about the adventure and the memories that you make. Yeah.
I think we have talked about that often, maybe not on here, but we both like to travel, and we both travelled a fair bit, different types of travel and different, but I think we're in that era of collecting memories and experiences, not necessarily buying all the things now when we go travel, but it is nice to have the souvenirs, but the memories and experiences that you get with the different people that you travel with. And I think it's a bit like we were talking last week, you know, depending where you are in your life, where your, you know, travel adventures might lie next, or which ones you enjoyed the most. And we've been the same. I mean, most of our travels with our kids have always been fun. You know, Disneyland. We used to go to the States quite a bit. Every couple of years we would go to the States. We haven't been since 2019, but we've done other things. But that was always Disneyland and those sort of great adventures. But we've also done travel with my aunt, you know, and that was completely different, but again beautiful, around Alaska. And with my mum, we used to do a fair bit of cruising with my mum when she was alive, so that was always nice. But travel is good.
It's good for your soul, and it's good for your own personal growth, I find, because there's so many things that are so different in other countries, and there are things that you can learn from, both good and bad, but it opens your eyes, and I think it makes people more tolerant and patient when they learn more about different cultures and traditions and people. And I think that's a really positive thing. I used to say to people, because I started my career in travel, I worked for Thomas Cook Travel many years ago. I was only 17. I didn't get to do a lot of travel because I was really only with them for a few years before I moved to the Gold Coast, and they didn't have an office up here at that stage that I could transfer to. But you know, travel really helps with in our own diversity in Australia, understanding that all the different cultures that we have here. And I used to say to people when they would say, oh, you know, well, shouldn't I be a good Australian and then just travel locally, you know? And I would say, well, yes, but I think you're a better Australian when you've travelled overseas. That was always
appreciate what you've got at home. A little bit, tapping into a little bit of last week, when you travel, you do actually appreciate some of the things that you do have around you when you're home. We, but also we did, particularly in that COVID period and where we weren't allowed to go anywhere, had it not been for that period of time, so you know, you can always find gratitude in everything that happens in life. We actually travelled through Queensland in that time, and if it hadn't have been for COVID, we would have probably got on a plane and gone overseas. So we went out west, out to Winton, and you know, did a bit of a road trip, Paul and I, and stopped at different places. And Paul had worked out that way, you know, over the years, but he, again, never did the, you know, touristy things. So that was really nice. We went up to Hayman Island and spent some time up there, and up to another place called Lizard Island and spent time up there during that sort of whole COVID couple of years when travel was restricted. So I think there is something about travelling in your own backyard. And in fact, you know, as you know, we went to Stanthorpe the other week, and we intend to do more of that those sort of staycations. But it is nice to go overseas, and you're right, it just does give you perspective and makes you realise some of the great things that we have here, but also some of the great things that are around the world, and the different cultures and foods and everything that you come into contact with. Yeah. And
often I was surprised, you know, when I went to England, Ireland, Scotland, and then I hopped over to Europe. My excitement was to see Europe, to experience Europe. But I remember when I did that trip, I was really surprised by England, Ireland and Scotland. And if I had had a choice to do either, I would have thought Europe, definitely. If you'd asked me after that trip, I would have been, I'm doing England, Ireland and Scotland. You know, I just felt, particularly in Ireland, I felt very much at home there. There's heritage, there's that lineage there. And it is a weird thing, because when you do go back to your roots, there, and I know others have said the same thing to me, but there is something that just comes over you that you can't explain. And all you can think is, well, I do feel like I'm on home territory. You know, it felt very familiar and just home. It just felt like home. So I think that was the thing about Ireland. The people were beautiful, this gorgeous scenery. Oh my gosh, the same in Scotland. You know, so many experiences in England that I just didn't even imagine existed. And that's the thing about travel. That's why it's such an adventure.
Yeah, for sure. I was lucky enough when I was 14, so that's many years ago. That's a long time ago. I lived over there. My dad, he was in the Australian Defence Force, and he got posted over there for a couple of years. So we lived over in London for 2 years, so got to actually spend a bit of time. And I was between 14 and 16, so I still do have some very vivid memories of that time. But again, a bit different when you're living there versus travelling. And again, I was 14 to 16, those teenage, those probably, you know, influential years or rebellious years, but I've been back since, and yeah, it's a very, I mean, it's obviously full of history. I'd love to know if you are from over London, Scotland. We'll be turning on the Commonwealth Games lately to watch what's going on over there. But if you're from that area, we'd love to know where you're from. We watch this on YouTube. This guy is called the Hoof GP. He's amazing. He's from Scotland somewhere, I think. Yeah, he's from Scotland. But he fixes cows' hooves, like he's the Hoof GP. And but he talks about the countryside and you know, he's got all this stuff, and it is so beautiful over there. It's so beautiful. Love to go back. Well, we're going to London in a couple of weeks, so we'll spend only a few days there. But yeah, it is beautiful over there. We've probably done most of our travels around Asia and the States. Again, Japan, one of our most favourite places to travel to. Our daughter lived there for a little while, so again, we've been over there a few times. In fact, the last time I went over to Japan was last year, 2025. I actually got quite unwell. And we were talking last week about health and all that sort of stuff, and you know, when you travel overseas, but their hospital system was pretty good, but the language, there's a barrier. Luckily, our daughter was with us and she can speak enough Japanese to get us through what we needed to get through. But yeah, that was sort of a completely different experience on that holiday, because I got quite unwell and yeah, had to spend all our time in Tokyo, not where we were going to go to after that. But yeah, travel certainly opens your eyes for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's so many variations to travel, and that's why when you're doing your bucket list, and you should have a bucket list, you know, it is like you said, it's working out what experience you want to have. Like, yeah, I've been to Phuket, I've been to Bali multiple times. You go there for the resorts and because it's cheap. Yeah. You know, Phuket was a bit the same. You're going there for the resorts and because it's cheap. And again, it's good for groups, you know. And then you've got other experiences like, you know, those like yourself, those experiences of Disneyland as well as Disney World in Florida, Epcot. Like, they're the sorts of memories that I would think of on my deathbed, you
absolutely.
know. And Ashley was not little, but she was still a young teenager. And so, you know, we had so much fun. One of the parks was done with my parents, which now is particularly with my dad and his health condition. You know, that's very, very special when I look back on that. And then Epcot was all with, you know, Doug, you know, so the three of us as a family were there, which was very rare. It was very rare that, even though I've done a bit of travelling, it's very rare that Doug, Ashley and I would actually travel together. There was always just, you know, either before all of that or after all of that or with work or whatever. But those fun and adventurous things, you've got to do. Even if you're an adult, you haven't got children or grandchildren, you still have to do the Disneylands and the Disney Worlds.
Happiest place on earth. We took our kids were older. I think when we first went to Disneyland in California, I think Jess was 2007, so she would have been 13 or maybe 13. And I think Dan was 18, or 17. So, you know, they remember, they've got good memories of that time. I mean, although, you know, obviously as you get older, your memories do tend to fade, but we had good time. But then we've been back without the kids and just had the best time as well, like going on all the different rides and just doing it from our perspective, not having to do it from the kids' perspective. So that was that's great fun. And, you know, it's a place we definitely want to go back to. And when we go to Japan or, you know, in Asia, there's Disneylands all over the place now. Not quite the same as the originals, I don't think, but, you know, they do their best. But we had a great time we did go to Disneyland in Tokyo last year and Disney Sea. I wasn't that unwell that I couldn't get to Disneyland, but you know, again with Jess and her husband, you know, older, they went off and did their things, and Paul and I just did our things, and it was just like It blows my mind. It blows my mind how amazing some of those places are.
Yeah, and true credit to Mr. Disney to start all of that.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, what he would have had to, like, it's just the whole story of Disney. You have to, you know, watch the movie or read the book or whatever, because it's fascinating. But he did. He was successful in creating one of the happiest places on earth.
Yeah.
But what was your favourite ride at Disneyland?
Oh, well,
The Anaheim one.
Well, I think my favourite ride was probably, I think it was over in California Adventure. The big Mickey Mouse. I don't even know if it's the big Mickey Mouse thing now, but it was the big roller coaster that you could see, and it had Mickey Mouse's head on it.
Yeah.
And it just went so fast. I mean, like, I am not a roller coaster person, but I feel like if you're going to go to these places, you have to do some of those things. And even now with, like, because I've got grandkids, and they're, you know, our granddaughter is, you know, she's, you know, at that age where she's just tall enough to go on some of these roller coasters. And if I'm with her, like, I have to go on it. I can't not let her go on it, right? But yeah, the Mickey Mouse, I can't remember what it was called, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but I did the same.
But hang on, but that was the first time. The last time we went, the bloody Cars ride. Have you done the Cars ride?
Now, I can't believe this.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
I cannot believe this, because my favourite ride, yes, it's in California Park, and it was the Cars, because you're literally racing these cars, like in the movie, the kids' movie Cars, through Dantota or whatever it is, Arizona, you know. And you've got someone next to you, right? And it's just the best ride. I went on that, I think, 10 times. And that was when Ashley was, you know, the teenager. My best friend from Melbourne was with us, and her two boys. So her husband and the boys, you know, they'd get in one car, we get in the other, and then you race each other. But the other thing is, my second favourite ride is that roller coaster that you're talking about. Because when I went on that occasion, Ashley was too little. She was only about 3 years old. And I really wanted to go on this roller coaster. I've always been a roller coaster girl. And so here's a hack for you, right? When you go to any theme park, if you're a solo rider, you get to actually go in a different queue.
Yeah.
So I went on this roller coaster, and I was in that solo queue. So I literally walked past all the streams of people, and I ended up straight on the roller coaster. I only had to wait for one ride, and I was right at the start of that queue, the solo queue. Yeah. And they put myself and this other solo girl behind me right at the front. We were like right at the front of that roller coaster.
So fast.
And I nearly died. It was, like you said, it was so quick.
Yeah.
And I felt so accomplished when I got off it at the end. And I remember running back to Mum and Dad and little Ashley, and I was like, oh, I want to go again. It was so exhilarating.
You so want to go again. You're so nervous when you're going on it. The Hollywood Tower of Terror, like, or I don't even know if it's called that anymore, but it was the Hollywood Tower of Terror. So many good rides at Disneyland. So, you know, again, we appreciate not everyone's going to ever, you know, get the opportunity to go to these places, but you can watch them on YouTube. I watch lots of travel things on YouTube, and I live vicariously through lots of people on YouTube on their travels. And, you know, there's a family that we follow. I can't even think of what the name of their channel is called, but there's Mum and Dad and the two kids, and they're traveling all over the place. But I love it. I love just seeing the joy. I love seeing the joy that travel itself brings people. But I love seeing the joy that, you know, places like Disneyland, and there's plenty of others around the world that bring to families. You know, even again, the last time I went there, and it was my birthday, and I got my birthday badge. You know, it's Lisa's birthday today, and all that. Like,
and as you pass all the staff, they're like, you know, yelling out "Happy Birthday, Tracy," or you have your first time badge. You know, they'd really fuss over you.
Yeah, it's so nice. It is nice. And all the we've got some beautiful photos of you know, where I don't know how they do it, but like it looks like you're holding Tinkerbell, and you know, or you're stirring the witch's cauldron, and like, you know,
Get to meet all the princesses.
So nice.
And for anyone that's watching that's a mum of a little girl, the one thing that everybody has to do with their little girls is take them into Bibbidi Bob's boutique.
Yeah.
And they can dress the little girls up as a princess. And I remember I paid for Ashley to do that, so I bought her little. The first one was Belle.
Yeah.
That was the first time there. She was Belle, so she was already in that dress. And then I ran off to find my mum because I wanted her to see the whole transformation. And they do it just like it would be in a magical mystery,
so nice.
movie, whatever, because they have the curtains over the mirrors so the girls can't see their hair or makeup getting done. And then they do the big reveal. And seeing these little girls' faces, oh my God, when I saw Ashley's face, I just melted, and I remember I started to cry. It's even making me emotional now. It was so, I could actually see as a little 3-year-old girl, I could see her as a bride. So for mums, it's really, really special, and something that just pay to do it. It's just so good for the little girls. They'll remember it forever, and it's so good for you as a mum.
Google it on YouTube, you'll see lots of the transformations. I mean, we haven't got those sort of videos to show you because, well, we did have videos, I think, back then, but not as good as they are now. But I know you, Tracy. I have not done this, but I'm pretty sure you've been on a Disney cruise.
I have, yeah.
And Paul and I, that is our most favourite holiday, is a cruising holiday. We love to cruise. We've done lots of cruises all over the world. Never done a Disney one though, but it is on the bucket list with our grandkids. So, you know, although I don't think they're coming to Australia at the moment, but anyway.
Yeah, look, I left out of Florida and we went through the Caribbean, and honestly I've been on a couple of cruises.
Yeah.
And of course, Disney is just hands down by far the best, right? I can't compare it to a lot, like you've been on a lot more cruises, but everything about that cruise ship, the cleanliness, the staff, the shows, the characters all get involved constantly, like, and again, even if you're an adult, like, you know, who doesn't want a photo with Donald Duck or, you know, Mickey Mouse or Minnie or whatever. It was just so much fun, and just, I would love to do another Disney cruise.
That is on our bucket list to do. And like I said, I'm not sure that they go out of Australia anymore, so we'll have to go from somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I think Disney have just done their biggest cruise line ever, like their biggest ship ever. And it might go out of Asia, actually. It might go out of Singapore, I think. But we'll have to have a look at that. But
the rooms were really impressive too, the state rooms, because the other cruises that I'd been on, the rooms were quite small. You know, the beds aren't great.
Different target market though, really. Disney is a market of itself, whereas most other cruise lines are, you know, they're all pretty much the same. Like, you know, but Disney is definitely
special.
Families.
Very special.
It's very Disney. It's very Disney. So
it's worth the money
definitely
too.
Want to do one day. No, our probably favourite cruise line is Royal Caribbean, although we're going on a celebrity cruise next month, and we've never done celebrity before, and I'm being told that celebrity is pretty good. Like, I don't know, in levels, I don't know. You get what you pay for. You can pay, you know, $10,000 for a week. You can pay $100,000 for a week. You can pay $1,000 for a week. You know, it just depends what you want. We cruise pretty well. So I'm looking forward to going on Celebrity, and I'll be able to tell you what that's like.
So what are the cruise ships so far that you've been on, the brands, and what would be the better brand that you've already been on?
Well, we've only been on, so we started cruising when the kids were small, and in Australia that was on P&O, which doesn't exist in Australia anymore. Carnival have taken that over. So again, you might call me a bit pompous or whatever, but I'd love your views on this, because I sort of rate, again, haven't been on a lot of different cruise companies, been on a lot of cruises, mostly with Royal Caribbean. So it's like, for me, it was always like P&O Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and then I'm told Celebrity. So they're the own. Oh, and we've been on Costa. We have been on a couple. We've been on Costa, but poor old Costa. You know, if you watch Netflix, there's that whole Costa that sunk in the ocean over there somewhere.
Oh, you don't want to get on a sinking ship.
Well, no, we did Costa. Can't remember. This was in 2009. We did this. I actually remember it because it was the time. Must have been the June, July. It was when Michael Jackson died.
Oh.
So I remember we were on the ship. That was at Europe when I was talking the other week about the Europeans on the cruise, and it was this Italian cruise ship. They had the best ever pizza, which you would probably expect being an Italian cruise line. But beyond that, it was, I think Costa are right down there now. But for me, some places only get Costa cruising out of where they go, so that's what you go on. But I think, Royal Caribbean are our favourite. We've done most of our cruises on Royal Caribbean, and we will continue. We've got a few booked for next year on Royal Caribbean, so we'll continue to do that. But for us in Australia, all year round, the only cruise ships that we have basically all year round are Carnival. And look, Carnival are good. We've been on a number of Carnival cruises now, but again, they're not everyone's cup of tea. And depending where you want to go and how you want to spend your time on the ship. But if we're after just a quick cruise for a weekend away or 4 or 5 nights up the coast, we'll go with Carnival because we can get them all year round. Royal Caribbean, the other ships come in from sort of September, October-ish through to March, April. They start to head back to their other places. I always feel like we get dudded with our cruising down here in Australia, but anyway, that is what it is.
It gives us an excuse, I guess, to fly to somewhere like Singapore.
The best cruise we ever done, can I tell you about the 2 best cruises we ever done, and they've all been amazing. We did Alaska, and that was amazing to do. We flew over to the States. We flew up to Fairbanks. I think we spent maybe a week in Fairbanks doing around, and then making our way down, and it was with Royal Caribbean, and it was all done through them. Made our way down by train and bus down to Seward to get on the ship, and then we sailed down to Vancouver, got off the ship there, and then we continued with some travels around the States. That was amazing. The nature, the sea life, the animal life, we saw bears, we saw moose, we saw all these animals that we would never get to see unless we went there. So that was amazing. The weather was, we got to see the Northern Lights. That was like, I cried when we saw that on the ship the night, and just, all the things that like, they might not be amazing to you, particularly if you come from those parts of the world, but, just things like the way they keep cars. They've got these things in shopping centres to keep car engines warm during winter because you can't turn your car off because you won't be able to start it again because it's so cold. So just all this stuff that is interesting for us. And then the other one, which was amazing, happened again to be out of the United States, but we left out of New Jersey and went up the East Coast, up to Nova Scotia. And that was over there, it was an autumn cruise, and the colours and everything was just beautiful. It was just, I'm speechless. I mean, we've got beautiful photos, we've got everything, but just, there was one point where we were in fog for most of the day, and every 30 seconds or every minute or something, the foghorn was going off, and we went and saw the Titanic, where the Titanic, a lot of the people from the Titanic who they didn't know who they were, where they are, and there's a museum, and just all this stuff that you never see. We went to Boston, and we met up with one of our friends' daughters there, and went to, I think it's at Harvard there, whatever it is, went to all these places, and had beautiful cupcakes, and just walked the different trails that they have there. Two best ever cruises that we've ever done, and we've done the Caribbean, we've done Asia, we're going up to Norway, so I'll tell you all about that. That might be my best ever cruise when we come back from there. But we've done the South Pacific, some beautiful places in the South Pacific. But yeah,
I have on my bucket list to do an eclipse or a silver sea.
Oh yes, yeah.
And the difference with those cruises really is just in the level of service and the cruise ship itself. All the tours are curated, they're all included, just that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think in terms if you want a real VIP, type of experience, then they are definitely the cruise ships.
You're definitely paying for it.
They even have the eclipses have the helipads, the helicopters and whatnot.
Well, we haven't done one of those, and again, that's something we'd love to do as well. But like I said, we do travel well. And a few years back, we went to Vietnam, and we stayed in Four Seasons in Hoi An, and oh my God, like it was just luxury. It was just. I don't know, if you can once in your life, you just need to spend the money on yourself, or you and your partner, or whoever, and just do something totally luxurious for, even if it's just for a few days. And we did that, and I saw a thing on, because Four Seasons now have yachts.
Yeah.
To be honest, to be fair, that they are very expensive. The reviews weren't all that good. Like, given, a lot of people talk about, well, you're paying this much money, you would expect some of these things that weren't included to be included in the price you're paying, which is fair. But I think anything luxury like that, it's just like, you have to do it once.
Oh, I agree.
However you can do it, I don't know.
I agree.
Don't.
Like, I came from a space when I was 17, so probably had turned 18. I was working at Thomas Cook. I brought my mum, my dad and my brother up to the Gold Coast on a trip, and we stayed at, back then it was called the Gold Coast International, which is now the QT.
Oh yeah.
And I remember, we rocked up, we'd had a private car. I got it all cheap through my travel agency, and it was basically industry rates, so it was really next to nothing, which is why I brought them with me. But I just remember that was my first experience in a 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
And concierge come out, of course, and they take your bags, and then they're parking your car, and then they're carrying them through to reception, and, people are fumbling over you, making sure that you feel, VIP. It's a 5-star hotel. And I remember thinking back then at that age, I don't like this. I don't like people taking my bags. I don't like my car being, parked by someone else. It was really funny, because after that experience, of course, that's what people pay for.
That's
I didn't pay for it because it was so cheap.
Yeah.
But that's what people pay for. They pay for that experience. And of course, now you fast track to now, and I'm just
that's all you want.
And I just judge people and on their service, whether it's an airline, whether it's a hotel, whether it's a cruise ship, whatever it is. And that's why I say, in terms of service, there is not one country or one experience that I've ever had in the world that can absolutely top Dubai. And unfortunately, my time in Dubai has always been for business.
Yeah.
I have never been there for a holiday. It hasn't been a stopover. It's been a destination, but it's been for business. Even so, we had a lot of fun, but you just can't go past their service. And it's a little bit like in Japan, where they don't expect to be rewarded for good service.
Yeah.
It's just expected, and if you don't feel like you've had good service, they'll just notch it up and go above and beyond, and they do it without thanks. That's their preference.
Right.
So I have to say, in terms of service, you've got countries like Dubai, Japan, and Singapore that are a real standout.
And I think too, and I don't feel embarrassed anymore about saying I really like luxury travel now. Like I do. And don't get me wrong, when our kids were small, we had the camper van, we went camping, we rolled out the sleeping bags, we've done all that. But as Paul and I have gotten older and the kids have gotten older, and the kids would love to come travelling with us still. They would love for us to pay for them to come, but we like our own thing now. And you talk about the service that you do expect when you start to pay for some of these things. And there was a cruise we were on. I think we might have been going from here to New Zealand, and we got a suite on a Royal Caribbean ship. And we had our own concierge person, and you just ring them up anytime you wanted anything, really. And when you first do it, it's a bit awkward. You're like, I'm not going to ring up for that. But anyway, I wanted some garlic. I was going through this stage where I was like, I've got to have a piece of garlic every day to keep the winter bloody colds away. So I rang up and I said, oh, look, can I just get some garlic delivered to the room, just some garlic cloves, just, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I am not joking. I've probably got a photo of it somewhere. If I can find it, I'll put it up. I had the biggest bowl of garlic cloves ever. I felt so bad. I said, I just wanted one a day. Like I'm only going to be on the cruise for 10 days, so maximum 10. You can get amazing over-the-top service with some of these things that you choose to do. And I always feel like if you're paying your good money, because we all the money that we get is hard earned. You as well. We all work hard for our money. You want to get the best for your money that you're spending. So, and when you've done it a couple of times, you feel comfortable to say, look, can I have I just want one piece of garlic though. I just want one clove, not 27 things of garlic. So yeah, you learn a bit. But I just think luxury travel, if you can do it, we would love to know, have you been somewhere? We haven't done everything for sure. Where would you love to go? Where haven't you been that you'd love to go?
For me, where I haven't been, it's parts of Europe, and I'd love to do that with Doug, because Doug has not travelled extensively, and Doug is very much into history, and Europe holds a lot of history. But I'd love to take him back to a trip that I did in America, in California, because that was just so scenic and beautiful as well, down the Big Sur. Yeah. From, if you go from San Francisco down to San Diego, now Doug has been to San Diego, and our favourite destination there was the Dell. You can look that up, the Dell. It's a very old historical hotel, very famous. And I've stayed there now twice. And it's just original, and it's just beautiful. Like, they even have the old elevators where the little bellboys would close the iron,
Oh, yeah.
And it was, and they still today, I was there maybe 7 or 8 years ago, but at that point they still had that bellboy. He was an old bellboy, but, he was there. Just a stunning place down in Coronado. Yeah. So I'd like to do that again, but somewhere where I haven't been, I think the parts of Europe that I haven't been, that's where I would really love to go back and do, like you guys, do more cruising. Yeah,
we haven't done a lot of Europe, so Europe would be good, but we, both Paul and I, we have very similar travel bucket list items. Well, they're the same basically. We want to do Antarctica. So we really want to get, and we want to do like on one of those scenic, you can do those scenic ones. We would like to do that before, too much time gets away. But also I haven't done, I've been to Mexico, but I would like to do South America, a bit more down. And again, you can do that if you go to Antarctica, you can spend some time down in South America. New Zealand is a beautiful place. It's for us, it's probably closer for us to fly to New Zealand.
And Cook Islands, I believe Cook Islands is probably the most beautiful island in
South Pacific. There are so many beautiful places that, unfortunately some of the cruise ships are getting too big to go into some of these places now, which is a bit of a shame, or you've either got a tender in, but we've still got quite a substantial bucket list of travel places we'd like to go before our time's up.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of places, even in America. It's not somewhere that I generally would like to go to right this minute, but you know, I really would, like I said, I'd love to go back to California, but I'd also love to experience other parts of America.
Yeah.
You know, like I've been
I'd like to go
watching
to
Yellowstone,
Texas.
and Montana looks beautiful.
Oh yeah. Well, our
Um,
son-in-law comes from Colorado, so I'd like to go up there. And we went to Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville. Yeah, that was really great. That
I've
was
been
a
to
few years
Texas,
back. Yeah,
but
I've been to
Texas
Texas. Yeah.
Texas is like they say, everything's big in Texas.
I'd like
but
to go to where Elvis come from.
Memphis, yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's in Is that in what is it? Is it Tennessee the state or is it Nashville the state? Anyway,
Yeah, not
look
sure.
at us. We are not
Yeah.
geography buffs.
Yeah.
We just like to travel to places. So
But that's the thing, right? It's like ultimately I want to create a life that I don't want a holiday from. That's the ultimate.
yeah.
But there are still so many places, and I did a lot of my travel before I got married.
Yeah.
You know, and then I did some traveling in the Americas with mum and dad because they needed me to take them there.
Yeah.
So it worked out really well. So I've seen, you know, a lot of California. Then with Doug over, you know, in Florida, only really though around that. I'd love to go down to Miami and check that out, all those places. But
Yeah.
I think I'd have to go back to the, back to the brochure to really work out exactly what's going to.
We might do is inspire us. Where is your favourite travel destinations that you've either been to or that's on your bucket list? Where are you from? That might inspire us as well. Let us know where you're sitting watching this, and what might be beautiful around you, because we're not adverse to travelling. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to Norway in a couple of weeks, so that's going to be nice. And yeah, I'll tell you what that's all like. Anyone from Norway, let me know. Might meet up. Joking.
Have a cup of tea.
Have a cup of tea. We could do a truth, courage, and tea
Yeah.
in Norway somewhere.
How awesome would that be?
That would be amazing. Anyway, speaking of travel, we better travel off. So thank you again for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us some comments and tell us your thoughts on whatever we're talking about. If there's something that you'd like to chat about, we'd love to know. We're going to just be wide and varied, I think, and whatever comes up for us. So yeah. So until next week, cheers.
Yeah. Enjoy your week and your cup of tea. Till next time. Cheers.